you ask anyone if they have a problem and they want to learn something, what's the first place they go? It's not even Google, it's YouTube. The more people see your face and hear your voice, the more you're gonna be an authority. And if you speak specifically to those people's problems, you're gonna be the authority. People are Googling their problems and they're Googling deep problems, right? Like, how do I train my elite sales team? Is that gonna get 1 million views? Probably not. But the people that type that in have a problem that they will spend a lot of money to solve.
In this episode, you're going to learn 3 amazing things that are going to help you get more customers, grow on YouTube, and land better clients. From my buddy, Ian Garlic from the Garlic Marketing Show. Number 1, you'll learn about the $1 million question that your buyer is actually waiting for you to answer in order for them to take the next step with you in your business. Number 2, you're going to learn about a boring way to find amazing hooks for your content, your videos, your writing, and everything you put out to help you attract the right kind of high-ticket clients. And then number 3, you're going to learn how to find hidden keywords that you can use and target in YouTube ads to find your right customers that no one else is bidding on. And then really quick, this is actually part 1 of a 2-part interview I'm doing with Ian. He had so much gold to share that we're going to bring him back on to really help us dive into this whole YouTube attraction or high ticket client traction thing that he is doing so well with his agency and his clients that I felt like we needed to separate this out into 2 pieces so that we can really extract the ideas and learn how to implement them for everyone here. So if that sounds good, stick around and be ready for part 2 when it comes out. I've got 6 questions here for you. For those who don't know you, maybe skip the intro. Here's what I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You are an expert when it comes to video case stories, which differs from case studies or video testimonials. And you teach people how to use video and storytelling to attract really high ticket clients in a number of different sectors. Now, I'm probably not saying that perfectly. So if there's anything you want to correct there, feel free to, and then I want to jump to these questions.
Yeah, I mean, we just help people become a trusted authority to their ideal the clients looking for them, but the bigger clients, and help them speak to it, help them nail that messaging down, and that comes through finding their customer stories.
Love it. And I've already downloaded the case story thing, so we'll get into that too. Link it here for people who are interested. But something that piqued my interest when I first met you, and I think I talk about this a lot, so it was great to see someone else mentioning it, is that YouTube's a great platform for landing and driving really high value, high quality clients. And I've heard that from our own clients as well. But I think you're probably better than most when it comes to elaborating as to why. So to start things off, like, why is YouTube the best, if not one of the top tools for driving high ticket clients or high value clients for businesses?
I mean, I think that's probably the most important question, because if you think about YouTube, the way that it works, it'll transform the way you come to it. YouTube, it's an entertainment resource, yes. And people, you got Mr. Beast, etc. But we go there to learn. And if you ask anyone if they have a problem and they want to learn something, what's the first place they go? It's not even Google, it's YouTube. If you need to fix anything, it's YouTube. And that's not just, I think a lot of people look at like the influencer stuff and they look at people with millions of views and they're like, well, this is for kids or blah, blah, blah. But in reality, everyone's there. And so it's the number 2 most used search engine. But really, it's the search engine that we use to go learn. And leaders are learners. People that have a lot of money are learners. People that are going to spend a lot of money with you are learners. They want to know as much as possible. And so we go there to YouTube to learn, to discover. Now, there's that point. Now you have view time too. So you have total view time is, I have a stat up on my Instagram. It's, I think LinkedIn might be the closest, or Instagram, at 45 seconds average view time. Average view time on YouTube is 3.5 minutes. Now, what does that mean? People spend more time with you. Now, on top of that, going back to what we first said, they have intent. Right? It's not like Facebook where you're interrupting. If you go on Facebook, you have little intent. If you go on Instagram, you have little intent. LinkedIn, you're trying to sell yourself. If you go on YouTube, you're often going there to learn. And if you're not there learning, you were learning something. And so it's this huge opportunity to be there when people have intent, and it'll get total view time. Now we combine that with what I call the Oprah effect. The more people see your face and hear your voice, the more you're going to be an authority. And if you speak specifically to those people's problems, you're going to be the authority. So now you know that those 100K clients are there. A lot of people aren't on Facebook. A lot of people aren't on Instagram. Busy people aren't on LinkedIn sometimes. I mean, that's the closest one. But even the busiest people are on YouTube at some point looking for answers. So you get all of that. Plus, if someone hits your YouTube channel and they watch a lot of your video, what does YouTube do? They show more of your videos, right? I mean, and so you have all this in there. And then on top of that, they know 65 million points of data on each person. So you have all this intent. And if you get the right people coming there and watching the videos, they're going to show it to people with those same problems, because people are Googling their problems and they're Googling deep problems, right? Like how do I train my elite sales team? Is that going to get 1 million views? Probably not. But the people that type that in have a problem that they will spend a lot of money to solve. And now YouTube will show them the videos. You get that total time. And what I love about it is you get longevity for your content. I have clients that literally have used the same videos for 7-8 years. What's your total time? If you're lucky, if you get a LinkedIn video that lasts a month. So, I mean, we stack all that on top of there. It's Google. It's not going away. It's just, I've been doing this almost 20 years since Google purchased YouTube, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. There's no one going, oh, YouTube, that sucks, right? Everyone hates every other platform. No one really complains about YouTube except if they were making a lot of money and all of a sudden stop. But those are 1,000 reasons to be on YouTube.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's so funny on the longevity piece. Like, we had a client a month or two ago tell me, like, yeah, like she's big on LinkedIn. She's doing great, but like her reach, because the algorithm shifted, it really impacted her reach and like views and engagement. And it's like, YouTube can do that too. However, like, I've seen the inverse of, a lot of times you have a great video and it gets searched and it gets found and it gets recommended and it continues to grow and build value over time, like a piece of real estate, like digital real estate. And I think there's a lot of, even if you don't get a lot of views, like going back to the thing you said around questions and asking the right questions and answering the right questions, it doesn't need to get a lot of views to get the right kind of clients, because you only need 1 or 2 of those clients for it to make your money back 100 times,
Oh yeah.
based on what you invested in that video. So it's not for people here who are more interested, like, because people, probably 2 camps listening to this. There's camps who are like, I want to be the authority. I want to have a lot of views, a lot of attention. Or there's people here who are just like, I want to build videos that drive sales, and I don't care if they get 10 views,
Yeah.
So it's probably 2 types of people listening to this, but I think for me, it helps focus my attention on, okay, what do I want? What do we need to say in these videos to attract the right people? Whether or not it goes viral, it does not matter at the end of the day. So
yeah, I mean, if you think about audience sizes, right? And I say this all the time, like, if you could get something like how to start a podcast, you get #1 for it, get 1 million views and not get a single person, because the right people aren't going to get that. But if you want to target the Fortune 50, right? Fortune 500, let's say Fortune 500, you want to target everyone in the C-suite of the Fortune 500, averaging 7 people in the C-suite of the Fortune 500. You've got a 3,500 person total possible audience. But if you just got 1/10 of that audience, that's 350 views. But if they were speaking to the Fortune 500, like, how do I run my Fortune 500? I'm just making stuff up right now. How do I run my Fortune 500 company? How do I move up to C-suite? How do I hire a VP of marketing that understands X, Y, Z? You might get 25, 30 views. But if those 25, 30 views are those people, think about how much each of those views are worth. And if you're an authority to the Fortune 500, I'd rather be an authority of the Fortune 500, get 100 views, than an authority to 12-year-old school kids, and they're aging out of watching my videos every year.
Yeah, dude, that's such a great reframe. In saying that, because I'm sure a lot of people listening to that, I'm like, okay, well, how do we actually pivot our content to speak to those high value people, whether you're a coach, consultant, service provider, or whatever? We want to speak to maybe that small percentage of the audience who can really afford our services and pay top dollar, and they want to work with us. They're looking for our content. What are the things you see business owners who create content online, specifically YouTube, do wrong? Like, what are we doing wrong with our YouTube channels? Feel free to use me as an example. I love to learn. So
it's a perfect example. There's been this lie of the ascension model, right? And we think that, okay, there's a business owner that wants a podcast, right? And I'm going to show them how to do it. And then they'll move up, and I'm going to show them how to make their podcast great. And I'm going to tell them what podcast episodes, how to make their podcast episodes great. How to, I saw you had a great one on how to make a great intro. And eventually that business owner is going to own $100 million company, right? And they'll just pay $1 million to run the podcast. There's a huge content gap there. So because we want to get all the views, and we're like, well, and I hear this all the time. This content has 25,000 views, and I got no business from it. But then there's this video over here that I got a bunch of business from that has 50 views. It's because there's a content chasm that most people that are DIYers will never be large business owners. And our mutual friend Qasim, I think, is the best example of that. Here's why. He doesn't do the stuff. He hires people to do it. So they want to know, why should I hire you? Do you understand my specific problems? And on top of it, when we make too much content that doesn't speak to them, they're like, there's too much here. I can't figure out what I was looking at an attorney's website, and he's like, I've got 50,000 subscribers. I'm like, I don't even know you're open for business. I don't know how to work with you. I'm not even sure exactly what type of law you practice or what successes you've had. Sure, you've got 1 million views of people that are going to DIY their legal service themselves. If you want to sell DIY legal services, that's great. But if you want to get big clients, I say this, you've got the DIYers, the done with you, and then you've got the BYB, the bring your best. And those people will not waste time. They don't have the time to go try and learn this thing. What I see with agencies, like actually one of the people in our trusted authority community, she's amazing at software management, software strategy, and she was making a ton of content like how to log into your software, blah blah blah. I'm like, the owner of the company doesn't want to know that. So that's the biggest mistake I see people make, is starting over there. Now, if you start in what I call the green zone, where your ideal client is ready to buy, and you just answer all their questions, you show them all the reasons that they should buy from you, you really differentiate yourself there. Because Google came out with a stat, like people are exposed to a brand 500 times before they make a single decision on an airplane ticket. So think about if you have a $100,000 offer, they need to be exposed to your brand a bunch of times. And there's one other thing I want to say before I let you talk, is those bigger clients are lurkers.
So this is something I've heard you say a lot, Ian, and it's around the $1 million question that we were kind of just touching on this. There was an interview you mentioned, or a YouTube video you mentioned, where it's like your buyer, like the big buyers, they want to know, have you solved my problem before, or can you solve my problem, and have you solved it before? And I think when I speak to like the bigger podcasts that we work with, or the bigger prospects, they want to know those two questions, and that's it. Like, and even I'm the same way, and I'm not a huge buyer, but like that's exactly the questions I need to know. And if it's yes, then it's like, okay, let's just figure out the logistics now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to speak to that, because some people may be wondering, like, well, how do I get, like, where do I start with like positioning my content, mainly YouTube content, to speaking to that ideal person? What other questions, or what are the frameworks that you think through when you think of that?
Literally, this is why we rebranded as videocasestory.com, was because I have a huge storyboard process that we go through and ask questions and do all the positioning and their before and after states and stuff. And then we would do all the videos, and then I'd interview their clients. I'm like, crap, I wish I had done this first. And because the clients have the answers. Every person I talk to, I'm like, well, tell me a story. When they have a problem, like, tell me a story of someone that you want to work with. And then if I ask enough questions about that story, and then I talk to that person, they're going to have the answers. And I don't think I've ever had where someone goes through the video case story process and we interview their clients. Now, before we interview them, we make completely custom questions. We interview our clients to know about their clients. But I've never once gone through there where someone watched it and goes, I didn't know that. And because we assume that we know everything about our clients, that even though we haven't asked them.
Yeah.
And so your positioning comes in to that. Now, it might be you do have awesome customer service, but saying I have awesome customer service means absolutely nothing. But if you're like, oh, here's a story about Luis, took and transform, was always there answering his phone, always there taking great care of me. And when I was having this problem with my podcast, he, right away hopped on and we fixed it. That's explains customer service, and that's positioning. And then you use those stories in your positioning, and you tell those stories. And that's where people want to hear this. And on top of it, the most important thing is positioning our angles. And what's the most important thing in all of marketing? You're in a mastermind with some of the top marketers.
Most important thing of all marketing. Oh, there's so many, but
what do you have to do first in any marketing?
Let people know about your stuff. I'm thinking about Hermosi now.
You have to grab their attention.
Right. Okay. I see what you mean.
You have to grab. I mean, if you don't grab their attention, nothing else matters. And so your clients will have great hooks, right? And they will tell you it. And if you ask the right way and interview them the right way, they will give you hooks that you will use for years. I have clients that have been using the same case stories for like 7 years, 8 years, because they have just amazing hooks and an amazing story. And you grab those hooks and you learn. And we've transformed people's marketing in 2 hours of meetings because you just listen to the customers, and that will give you your positioning.
That's I think we all have heard this, like listen to the customer, like watch your calls with customers. But it's when you put them in a strategic way. I've never heard someone putting it like taking the question or what the customer said and using that as a hook to draw people in or to draw the other like-minded similar problem clients in. That's a new thing for me. So that's a big unlock.
When you find them, like I've found them so many times, you get these goosebumps. You're like, I remember one agency, we got this one where their client said, if this agency is in your market, you're in trouble. And it's like, oh yeah, man, that, it's like, that's good. And are you going to watch the rest of that video? Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and if I said, hey, if I'm in your market, you're in trouble, you're like, that guy's a pompous ass.
Yeah, exactly. When your customer says it, it's different. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. Dude, I've got a lot, and we're gonna have another part 2 to this conversation. But I want to ask, because you mentioned this in passing, I think on a Facebook post. It was around YouTube ads. I know a lot of stuff probably just works great with organic because you have the right questions, you put in front of the right people, it's gonna work. But how do you guys layer in any kind of paid advertising onto this, or what tests have you ran with YouTube ads?
Oh, YouTube ads, no one's doing them right. And that's the huge opportunity.
Cool.
Because when you get to, when we find out the customer's real problem, inside of customers, I've found $1 million keywords. I worked with one real estate company once. They're like, we interviewed like 30 of their clients, and all of them said this one term. And I asked real estate company, I'm like, are you using that? They're like, oh, we don't do that. I'm like, but this is what your clients think you do. Right? That's what they think you do. And so if you can find those questions that no one else is thinking about, because they're not big enough that they're going to show up in a massive, everyone goes to the top of keyword lists. But if you go to the long tail and you're like, oh, you've got 10 people asking this question, but it's $1 million question. Now you put those questions and you use them for YouTube ads. I have clients that are just crushing it because it's like all of a sudden your videos, they're like, they Googled this question and now your video's popping up that answers their question while they're watching TV. And this is what I've been hearing more and more from our clients is I'm getting calls that people see me on TV. I'm like, yeah, it's the YouTube ads. And
YouTube TV.
Yeah, everyone uses YouTube ads like commercials. They're using direct response. They're using Facebook. It's like, no, people are on YouTube to learn. And if you know what they're trying to learn, and all of a sudden that video shows up telling them what they're trying to learn, they're going to call you.
That's genius. First of all, like not everyone goes, like you said, to the top of the keyword list. We're looking for the highest volume, highest traffic, and that's where everyone's fighting. But like that may not be, like you're saying, where the best customers are looking, right? It may just be the how to start a podcast question, which never ever converts. Like it's like great. A bunch of DIYers want to start a podcast, but that's not my customer, right? That's not who we serve.
Yeah.
So it makes total sense to then go like, let's look at the smaller ones where it's like the people who have a podcast that's doing 500,000 downloads a year, but they can't get to 1 million. That's the problem I want to solve. So that's totally makes sense, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And you find all the keywords around that, and you can find tons of those keywords. And now you make videos around that. And then you have your converting videos. They're like, oh, I watched this video. Now, oh, then they ask those 2 questions. Like, have you helped someone else like me? And it's like, oh, here's my case story. And, do you really understand my problem? And then how did you do it? And then let me answer the rest of my questions. Make all videos about that stuff after those videos. And then they're going to call you.
I love it. So we need to have a part 2, because I want to dive into the YouTube ad side and also how to get people started on this. Last question for you, Ian. What's something that's changed in the past 12 months that you're shifting towards and you think it's going to be a big thing moving forward? We all know AI and is something probably a big piece of that, but is there anything else that you're seeing shifting in the market?
It's AI, but not how AI. Everyone's like going to AI to make their content. I'm like, that is the dumbest thing you can do, because it's not going to make great content. It's not going to get you across. And while you can get really close with your face and voice, the human brain, the eyes, everything about our survival of millions of years of survival is around being able to look at another person and identify how we feel about that person. That's the entire prefrontal cortex. You have to understand that. So AI now there's so many subtle things that we see in human faces. But I think hyper-personalization is the future. And it's not just like hyper-personalization of the videos. It's how we deliver the content and go, Luis, you told me the XYZ, and I think you should watch this video at minute 237 because it answers your problem.
Right.
And then, and the hyper-personalization throughout the sales process and using AI then to analyze our conversations and improve our messaging. I think that's the game changer.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. And I think with the right AI tools in a couple of years, or maybe even a year or less, it's gonna change a lot. So that's exciting to see. I have no freaking clue how that's one software, a string of softwares, probably be a number of different things, but that'll be interesting. Real interesting, dude.
I think it's me everything.
So for people who don't watch the second part of this, I don't know when that's coming out, but for people who don't watch this, I want to make sure they know where to go for you if they want to learn about case stories, if they want to understand how to craft these things so that they bring in high ticket clients. What's the best place to send them to learn more?
So our YouTube channel, Video Case Story, or your website, videocasestory.com. If you want to here's the biggest mistake is a lot of times people think they know who their $1 million clients are and they don't. We've got a tool, videocasestory.com/finder. It'll help you to find those $1 million case stories. And, you follow me on LinkedIn. You said, if you see me, you said you saw me here, ask me any questions. I'll send you any tools we talked about.
Sweet. Dude, Ian, thanks so much.
Please, thanks for having me.
This won't be the last time. So I appreciate it. And thanks for everything.